what made you comment so vociferously against it, especially the chief spokesperson, Saurav Das? Because I understand that he has commented on the judiciary extensively in the past. And somewhere or the other, I also feel that there was a systematic attack on the judiciary, and public faith or in the institution, in the judicial institution, was affected. Over a period of time, it's become a pattern now by various people. Give us some thoughts on that. What's your take?
So my take is there is this fellow who works in some American university, some political hack, he's talentless, some Juddhajit or something like that. He wrote about, how the right keeps doing contempt of court all the time.
Yeah.
So this is like, this is like News Laundry will attack Anjana Om Kashyap, but they will never attack Preeti Chaudhary, who's so transparently a political shill. Uh, this Saurav Das is the distillate of all that is wrong with the public commentary. When the court had passed some remarks saying we will, end your career, you are not a journalist and whatever, this fellow called the judges Sadak ke Gunde, effectively. There was something else also that he had said on some previous judgment abusing the judges. Then when I started digging, I realized him and Frontline, they had been collaborating on a systematic attack on judges. Now, this is a fellow who claims to support the law and whatever, rule of law. But he translates every judgment he disagrees with as erosion of institution. He imputes motive to the judges. There are some 14 articles and counting, I think, on the Frontline website that have been published, most of which are attacking the character of the judges.
Yes, that they're associated with the government in most situations. That's what he
Exactly, right.
said. Yeah.
This has been a systematic pattern with him. He does not have a full-time job. If you look at his Twitter profile, he begs for money on his Razorpay, something at Razorpay or whatever. He lives in a 1,000 square yard house in GK1 next to people like Pawan Munjal who run the Hero motorbike and all that industry. And I'm sitting and thinking, you live in GK1 with a huge garden. Rent for that is starting, it seems like an old house, so rent for that would start at around 700,000 rupees, 7 lakhs a month. Where are you making this money from?
Inheritance, perhaps.
No inheritance.
That's how most people in Delhi function, don't they?
Well, have you seen him? Like, no. This is worth looking into, no? Then suddenly he gets associated with, so there's a very systematic clique. Why is it that he's circulated between these same news organizations? He starts off, I think, at Article 14, then goes on to News Laundry, then goes on to Caravan, then goes back to News Laundry, then goes to Al Jazeera in terms of his public exposure, and then Frontline somewhere.
Right.
There's a very systematic attempt to promote him, his finances, his sources of income, which he's never declared publicly, by the way. And you'd suspect somebody living for 7 lakhs a month won't be going around in a 7 lakh per month house, won't be going around begging on Twitter for independent journal. Bhai, aise independent journalist hota, I will leave my job and become independent journalist. And that is a very, very big question mark. So if you notice the rest of them, where does Abhijit Dipke suddenly get this thing? I want transparency. They will go into everything about Modi, but we should accept these people without any scrutiny of their past. Suddenly they come out and become very popular, and I meant to swallow them hook, line, and sinker. No. I also reject this thing. See, there is always a balancing between, does a party have a right to politicize anything? Yes, which is why I never attacked Rahul Gandhi for trying to politicize the CBSE, the paper leak. Or this was the NEET paper leak. Rahul Gandhi has a right to do it. The problem is when you're running a movement, you need to keep it apolitical to have traction. The moment you make it political, the moment you walk into the politicization trap, that's the end of the movement right there. Right. My real issue with this was we weren't talking about the NEET leak, we were talking about the CJP. The CJP essentially turned the entire, they condomized the NEET movement to further their own agenda, and I don't think these kids realized what has just happened. Because I've realized this with the state, and this is not just the BJP, this is the Congress before it, it was all the coalition governments before it. The moment you politicize something, you think you are getting traction because you are loud. You don't. It produces strategic hostility. Tactical visibility produces strategic hostility. And it's not just here, it also happens in America, by the way. Once it gets politicized, it can't go anywhere. As opposed to the UGC guidelines, which was apolitical, it was a whole bunch of general category people who would normally vote for the BJP attacking the BJP, but telling the Congress, you please stay away, telling the AAP, you please stay away, we don't want to get involved with you. And they succeeded. They got a stay in court. They forced the government into retreat. You look at what happened to the wrestlers' protest. Everybody was sympathetic to it till it became politicized. And then what happened to it? Finished. I'm really sad for all those kids that have been affected by the incompetence, the sheer incompetence in dealing with this, who now have gotten screwed because that issue itself has now become a hot potato that the government won't accept reason on it. When you make it a prestige issue, see, there are two things. In politics, this is the dichotomy. Assume you're my biggest enemy. I want to force you into a position of no return. Because I know when you fail, the fall will be, the bird that flies the highest falls the hardest. I want to back you into an absolutist position. As a politician, that is what I need to do. Because I don't want a solution. I want you voted out of power, I want you humiliated, and then I want to win the election based on your humiliation, and then I want to fix it. On the other hand, if I want to fix it, I will not back you into a position that you can't reverse. I will come and say, Sanya, let's quietly talk. Come meet me for a coffee. Let's sit and thrash this out silently. Now, I don't know who advised these students, or was it the appeal of that 20 seconds of fame in front of the camera or whatever. Very bad strategy. Very bad strategy. Congratulations. I mean, अब मैं क्या करूं? I mean, they've chosen their path. That's it.
What do you think about the judicial restraint part of this also? Because a lot of people say बोलना ही नहीं चाहिए था ऐसा. इसीलिए, it has turned out like this. So the drama happened because of the comment. That's what people are also saying.
One thing I've realized being in court is it's a very dynamic situation. Yeah, they're also human. Why do you assume judges? Why does anybody assume that judges are, some infallible gods? They're not. They're human beings. Sometimes they get irked. Like, koi machhar aega, is a judge meant to sit there and go like this, and even when the mosquito is buzzing around you, you're not meant to swat it. So you're meant to come down. If it's a female Anopheles mosquito, the judge must endure malaria, but he shouldn't swat the mosquito. They're human beings, yaar. So, bol diya, to what? And this is, you have to also look what age are those judges at. They're at that Uncle G age, where, that generation has a way of expressing itself. It's like, kya yaar tum naujawan bacche tum kuch karte nahi ho, you just sit around doing nothing all day, useless fellow. In Tamil, we have this term ayogya padar, which is unworthy brat, I guess. That's ठीक है, they used it, so what? Okay. Fair enough. So what? I mean, what? We don't use this kind of language. We all use it, yeah? We all have, we'll snap. Sometimes we'll have contempt for something, we'll say it. What is wrong with saying it? Tell me what was wrong in Justice Suryakant saying what he did.
See, the projection was that it was being said to the youth as a whole, okay, and not to any particular person or a particular space sect of people. He was saying all these media, all the people who don't have any employment in the legal space, especially, they join the media. They join.
It's true.
RTI.
There is an old.
Well,
He was referring to people like Saurav Das. Apparently, Saurav Das failed the bar or something, like he failed his law exam.
He did.
That's what I've heard.
You must be knowing. You're the strategic affairs
I
person.
don't know exactly what his this thing is, because see, for a fellow who's all about judicial transparency, we know nothing about him, about his sources of income, about his education, anything like that. Well, Saurav Das is a walking, talking example of what Justice Suryakant said. काम तो तुम्हारा कुछ है नहीं, legal understanding तो तुम्हारा कुछ है नहीं. I mean, have you read his stuff? It is such rudimentary, basic level, sorry to use the word, dog shit. I think there is more academic validity in my dog's feces than there is in his writings. I'm sitting there reading it and going, dude, this is not the way. Your opinion doesn't mean, just because you disagree with it, doesn't mean he's a crooked judge. Right? Everything is him casting aspersions on judges.